Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something pretty incredible. A tiny, man-made atom that has completely changed the game for seeing inside our own bodies. Imagine an invisible spy, one that can sneak in and report back on the secret workings of a disease. Well, that spy has a name, Fluorine 18.
But let's just start with a really fundamental question. How do you actually see a disease? We're talking cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease, not after it's already taken hold, but at its very, very beginning. Long before a person even starts to feel sick.
That right there is one of the biggest challenges in all of medicine. So many of these serious illnesses, they start off as completely invisible changes at the biological level. It's kind of like a tiny spark in a huge forest. By the time you actually see the smoke, the fire's already raging. The real trick is finding a way to spot that initial spark.
Now, you've probably heard of things like X-rays or CT scans, right? And they're amazing for what they do, which is showing us anatomy, the structures of our bodies, bones, organs, that sort of thing. But they can't really see the biology happening inside our cells. For that, we need something different. We need Positron Emission Tomography, or PET. A PET scan doesn't just give you a static map of the body. It shows you the biological traffic, the life, that's actually moving through it.
And to see that traffic, a PET scanner needs help. It needs a kind of molecular spy, a little radioactive light bulb that we can send into the body to light up exactly where the trouble is. And that spy, the real hero of our story today, is a very special isotope called Fluorine 18.
So why Fluorine 18? I mean, what makes it so special? It's like it was almost perfectly designed for this mission. Its half-life is about 110 minutes, which is this perfect Goldilocks sweet spot. It's long enough to produce it, get it ready, and complete the scan, but it's short enough that it fades away quickly, limiting the radiation dose to the patient. It also decays in the exact way we need it to by spitting out a positron. And crucially, it does this with low energy. That means the signal it creates is incredibly precise, which gives us these unbelievably sharp, high-resolution images. It's just the perfect tool for the job.
So how does our little spy actually send back its signal? Well, this is where it gets really cool. It's just beautiful physics. Inside the core of that Fluorine 18 atom, a proton decides to flip and become a neutron. In that instant, it shoots out a positron, which is the antimatter version of an electron. Now, this positron doesn't get very far at all before it bumps into a regular old electron in the body's tissue. And what happens when matter meets antimatter? Annihilation. They disappear in a tiny flash of energy, releasing two gamma rays that fly off in perfectly opposite directions. That pair of gamma rays, that is the unique signal the PET scanner is listening for.
But here's the thing. You can't just go out and mine Fluorine 18 from the ground. It's an artificial isotope. Our spy doesn't exist in nature. It actually has to be forged. And it's forged inside a truly remarkable machine.
And that machine is called a cyclotron. The best way to think of it is as a particle racetrack. It uses these huge magnetic fields to spin up protons to just incredible speeds, almost the speed of light. And then it slams them into a very specific target. And in this case, the target is a special kind of water.
Let's just break down that recipe for a second. So you start with water that's been enriched with a heavier, stable version of oxygen called oxygen 18. Then you hit that water with the high-speed protons from the cyclotron. When a proton slams into an oxygen 18 nucleus, it knocks out a neutron and bam! It transforms the oxygen atom into what we want, an unstable Fluorine 18 atom. It's basically modern-day alchemy. We're literally turning one element into another. And, this entire field, this incredible technology, it all stands on the shoulders of giants. This whole idea of creating new radioactive elements was first discovered way back in 1934 by Irene and Friedrich Joliot-Curie. They won the Nobel Prize for it, and their work paved the way for everything we're talking about today.
Okay, so we've forged our spy, we've created Fluorine 18, but an atom all by itself is just a blinking light. To be truly useful, we need to give it a mission. We have to attach it to another molecule that will carry it to a specific target in the body. Our spy needs a disguise.
And this whole process is called radiolabeling. This is where nuclear physics smashes right into high-precision chemistry. It's the art of taking that radioactive F-18 atom and chemically stitching it onto another molecule, a molecule that the body already recognizes and knows what to do with. Think of it like putting our spy on a special key that's designed to fit only one specific biological lock.
The most common disguise, by far, is sugar. It's brilliant, really. Chemists create this molecular Trojan horse. They take a molecule that looks almost exactly like glucose, and they attach our fluorine-18 spy to it. The final product has a fancy name, 18F Fluorodeoxyglucose, or FDG for short. But all it really is a radioactive sugar, and to a hungry cell in your body, it looks just like lunch.
So why sugar? Why that disguise? Well, because many of the most aggressive cancer tumors are incredibly greedy. They're hypermetabolic, which is just a fancy way of saying they burn through energy like crazy. They gobble up way more glucose than healthy tissue does. So by sending in our spy disguised as the enemy's favorite food, we're actually using the cancer's own appetite against it to make it light up and reveal itself.
All right, we've forged the spy. We've given it a clever disguise. Now for the real payoff. Let's see what this thing can actually reveal once it gets inside the body.
And this is where the true versatility of our spy really shines. Because by attaching fluorine-18 to different molecules, we can send it on totally different missions. The sugar disguise, FDG, that's for hunting cancer. But you attach F-18 to a different molecule, and suddenly it can hunt for the amyloid plaques linked to Alzheimer's disease. Or with yet another disguise, it can spot recurrent prostate cancer by tracking amino acid transport. It's the same spy, just wearing different disguises for different targets. It's amazing.
And before any of these are ever used in a patient, they have to be ridiculously pure. We're talking greater than 99% purity. And that's not just a safety thing, though that's obviously critical. It's to make absolutely sure that the picture we get at the end is a true reflection of the biology we're looking at, with no noise or interference. The level of precision involved is it's astounding.
So, once it's in the patient, the tracer goes to work, accumulating in its target tissues. The F-18 atoms start to decay, sending out millions of those gamma-ray pairs we talked about. The PET scanner, which is basically this big ring of detectors, registers all of these signals. Then a powerful computer does the incredible work of tracing all those gamma-ray signals back to their points of origin, building a beautiful 3D map showing exactly where our molecular spy has gathered.
At the end of the day, what have we really created here? The researcher Gopal Saha really summed it up perfectly. He said a radiopharmaceutical is a radioactive compound used for the diagnosis and therapeutic treatment of human diseases. That's it. That's the ultimate goal of this entire incredible dance between physics, chemistry, and medicine.
So you see, from a giant particle accelerator to a high-tech chemistry lab, right to a patient's bedside, fluorine-18 lets us turn the fundamental laws of physics into life-saving medical insight. It makes the invisible visible. And that just leaves us with one really exciting question for the future. What invisible biological secret are we going to choose to illuminate next? Thanks for tuning in.